Yimla, Alhaina Yahweh Bashimi Hawashah Hamashiach wa Malakia Bahashem Harawat Wakakoras Wakathum, the water Baba Ball, Wakwam Yasharala. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, the bishops of Great Millstone who teach us daily, and to the men out there teaching the likewise doctrine and say Shalom. Today we're going to get into a video where they are discussing the conditions of the United States Navy. Now, as a former Navy veteran, I can say that I can relate to what they're going through because these sailors have been on this ship over 250 days. 100 more days and some change, they'll go on the whole year on an aircraft carrier without stepping foot on land. And I'm gonna tell you a couple things. I was on a 6-month deployment to the Mediterranean Sea, and it took us 3 weeks to cross the North Atlantic. Our first port was in Rhodes, Greece. Those were the longest 3 weeks of my life. 3 weeks now. Come and tell you what happens when you're on the ship. The longer you're on that ship, the more your morale declines. You get tired of looking at the same people. You get tired of smelling the ship. You know what I'm saying? Because they always paint. It's all when you go on the ship and come off, your clothes smell like paint. That's how much they paint on the ship. You get tired of looking at that gray ass ship. You get tired of looking at the water. Think about it. As far as the eye can see in every direction, water. And at least they was on a carrier. It's a bigger ship. I was on a destroyer. It's a smaller ship. So, I mean, it was just miserable until we pulled into port. That's what port stops are for. Port stops is to keep your morale high. You know, it's give you something to fight for versus being stuck on the ship because it's like being in jail. You can't go nowhere. I mean, you can go down to the mess decks, play dominoes, play spades or whatever. You go to the gym. Some ships have libraries. Some ships have computer labs. But the smaller ships like frigates, no, that is misery because it's a small ship. So, and we had people to commit suicide on the carrier of our battle group. They jumped from the flight deck. That is a 60-foot drop. As soon as you hit that water, you are dead. This is the desperation of those sailors. They wanted to get off that ship. And the condition of the morale of the military is like the elder said, the other nations are watching this. And they know when it's time to hit them, they hit your enemy when they're in their lowest state. But it's not the Lord's will that they get touched yet, but they will be touched. But let's go ahead and get into the video. You got some people talking about the conditions of the a few carriers, including the USS Abraham Lincoln. But before we get into the video, let's get a copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Let's go ahead and get the video. This video is on the Arrows of Indignation channel, and the name of it is Ancient Rome Failing Military. Signal is the end with the reincarnated Roman Empire of today. Absolutely.
The largest and most sophisticated aircraft carrier in the world, the USS Gerald Ford, is literally drowning in its own shit. Their sewage system has erupted. Literally 95% of the toilets on board are inoperable. It is flooding living quarters. So they decided that, okay, we need to address this, obviously. You've got sailors waiting for 2 to 3 hours to use the bathroom. So they contacted Israel and said, on our way to the Persian Gulf, we need to stop and get this situation figured out because that ship is not combat ready. What did Israel say? They said, no. You need to hurry up and go fight our war for us. So apparently it is stopping in Greece to disembark all personnel on board to allow them to shower and use the bathrooms. Hopefully they're going to try to address the situation, but reports are coming in saying that this could take weeks, if not months, to figure out.
200 military families walked into a room in San Diego and told the acting Secretary of the Navy the truth, and he didn't have an answer. This is the story the Pentagon didn't want you to hear. Event 1. The USS Abraham Lincoln has been deployed for 262 days. The USS Gerald Ford spent 326 days at sea, a post-Vietnam record. The USS George H.W. Bush, 109 days and counting, had to sail around the tip of Africa just to avoid the Red Sea because the Navy could not guarantee it wouldn't be hit. Inside that room at Naval Air Station North Island, spouses were in tears. One mother said her daughter believes she is never coming home. A wife said her husband has never held their newborn. Families describe mold in the showers, plumbing that doesn't work, and food so unrecognizable that the Navy publicly called the photos fake. 5,000 sailors on that one ship. Mail undeliverable because the fleet's own port in Bahrain was hit. And when families pushed back, Navy leadership reportedly texted a sailor live in the room to prove the complaints were false. Event 2, this isn't new. Months earlier, the Gerald Ford's plumbing failed so badly that sewage covered the decks. Then a laundry room fire tore through the ship, 600 to 1,000 beds destroyed, sailors slept on bare floors. The ship limped to Crete for repairs, and the closest replacement, the USS Theodore Roosevelt, won't be ready until December at the earliest. Do the math. That's close to 400 days at sea for some of these crews, stacked on top of an already record-breaking deployment with no fixed return date given to a single family in that room. Event 3. 2 days before that meeting, the acting Secretary of the Navy sent every sailor and Marine a memo. Not about food, not about plumbing, about warrior ethos, about haircuts, about appearance. About how allies and adversaries can judge readiness in 10 seconds by how sailors look. The same week, the Navy is asking Congress for $1.5 trillion, including funding for a new class of battleships. The sailors actually deployed can't get toilets that work or mail that arrives. Record-setting deployments, a public dispute over food photos, a $1 trillion budget request while sailors sleep on the floor, and a memo about looking sharp instead of fixing what's broken. So here's the question. When the country funding the most expensive military on earth can't get food to its own sailors, is this a leadership failure or something the American public needs to be asking louder questions about?
Mm-hmm.
A lot to cover.
Salakia. Sad, sad, sad. Yeah, that's a leadership failure. Matter of fact, I don't understand the insanity of Esau Edom because you are talking all this shit to these other nations, so you gonna need a military. But yet, this government decides to shit on their own military. And I'm gonna tell you one thing: those sailors are not stupid because a lot of that stuff that they mention about the toilets backing up and all that, that sounds like sabotage because that doesn't happen unless it's deliberate. Remember how at the beginning of the Iran conflict, that carrier, I forgot the name of the ship, but they intentionally stuffed the toilets with t-shirts and socks and underwear to clog the sewer system so they can go on deployment. The same thing is happening with these carriers. The sailors are sabotaging the ship to avoid going on deployment. And you know what's next? Mutiny. That's next. because these sailors have had it with Trump's bullshit war that he's repeating orders from Israel. The sailors know this. The military knows this. That's why that adds to their frustration. That adds to their anger. And pretty soon, a mutiny gonna break out on one of these ships. Let's get the definition of mutiny for those who don't, who haven't been in the military. Mutiny definition. A mutiny is an open rebellion or refusal to obey person in authority, usually by a group of soldiers, sailors, or crew members trying to take control. If you seen that movie, watch that movie, Crimson Tide with Denzel Washington. It's a mutiny on that submarine. It's a good ass movie though. One of my favorite Denzel Washington movies. It's called Crimson Tide. That's the name of the submarine. But yeah, mutiny next. Because this right here, this is a cry for help. And if it continues to get ignored, these sailors going to take matters into their own hands, just like Second Ezra chapter 15. But let's go ahead and get some scriptures. Let's go into the book of Isaiah. Chapter 31. Verse 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and horses and horsemen because they are very strong. That's the military. Remember the book of Exodus when the Pharaoh was chasing the Israelites? Him and his army? Yeah. Horses and chariots. That's the modern day military. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. No. That video I did Wednesday, I think. It was a Jake talking about how he need $500,000 to build a bunker. But at the same time, just like the scripture says, they look not unto the Holy One of Israel for help. That should be the only help you need. Because if you still on this ground when them nukes fly, you dead. The only way to get out of this alive in one piece is on those chariots. Now let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 25. Verse 19. This is what Trump messed up at. This is what the military messed up at because they put their faith in the wrong people. Proverbs chapter 25, verse 19. Confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. It's a bad idea to trust somebody who can't be trusted, especially after they have demonstrated time after time they can't be trusted. We're talking about the United States government. The whole government is compromised, if y'all haven't figured that out yet. That's why I made a video as soon as Trump started taking orders from Israel. And people was talking about how stupid he is, all the dumb decisions he's making. I'm like, Trump's not stupid. He's compromised. It's a difference. Yeah, he's stupid, but he's still compromised. Now let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 4. Book of Sirach, chapter 4, verse 27. Make not thyself an underling to a foolish man. See? Neither accept the person of the mighty. When you make yourself an underling under a foolish man, you deserve whatever you get because you trust in your enemy. You trust in the wrong people. So it's just a matter of time before they betray you, before they stab you in the back. That's why it says, never trust thine enemy in Sirach chapter 12, verse 10, for like his iron rust, so is his wickedness. And you see the wickedness he's doing to his own people. Matter of fact, let's get that one. Book of Sirach, things chapter 14. Yep, verse 5. He that is evil to himself, to whom shall he be good? He shall not take pleasure in all his goods. This man dogging out his own people in the military, but at the same time expects them to fight for Israel. That's why they are pissed. That's why they deem this an unnecessary bullshit war, because nobody fucking with the United States for real, except when the United States fucks with them. And now this whole government has thrown the whole military under the bus when they came out with their statement saying that the Israeli military and the United States military are merging. That's them saying in so many words, Israel now controls your military. Because think about it, if they already control the White House, you think they're gonna stop at that? No. That was the goal, to gain control of the military. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 19. Verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight one another, every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fall in the midst thereof. That's that morale dropping, that confidence in the world's greatest military. Now, that confidence is gone. That's verse 2. Yeah. Where is it? Verse 3. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail, that morale, in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And they shall seek to their idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Yeah, they fighting on that ship. Matter of fact, on the Abraham Lincoln, I think 7 sailors died. Yeah, it's a mutiny right around the corner because the admiral is not being very admirable right now. The admiral, he controls the entire battle group, the carrier, the 2 destroyers, the 2 cruisers, the frigate, and the sub. That the carrier is basically the command center for the fleet. But the admiral is taking orders from compromised government. So that makes them what? Very dangerous, unpredictable. And when a ship crew morale gets low, that's when they stop. That's when they stop functioning as a unit, and they start functioning as individuals. You have to have cohesion. If not, that ship is not going to function like it's supposed to, because you got angry ass sailors thinking of ways to get back at their government. That's why they sabotage that ship. They want out. They don't want shit to do with BB. Iran, they don't want shit to do with it because they know that this is not our fight. So what can you do when the government got you by the balls? Contractual law. When you take that oath, you in there. That's why a lot of sailors, they go UA in other countries, or they don't re-enlist and they stay in the country they're currently at. I mean, who can blame them? I was on the ship with a lot of sailors. Once they retired, they stayed overseas. Who the hell wants to come back to this country that treats them worse than the enemy? They got way more respect overseas than at home. That's a goddamn shame. But you fighting for this country that hates you. Yeah, they stayed overseas and they were treated like kings because the women knew who they were and the men were afraid of them because they know who they are. Israelites. Let's go back to the Apocrypha. Where is it? Chapter 10. Chapter 10, verse 3. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. Verse 2. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. You got a shitty president, you're gonna have shitty people, shitty citizens, shitty military, because Trump is not a motivator. He causes strife and division. He doesn't bring people together, he tears people apart and throws them under the bus at the same time. That's quite a talent you got there. And he's using these people. Well, Israel is using our military. So let's get these. This is the Book of Sirach, chapter 13, verse 4. If thou be for his prophet, he will use thee. But if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. He's using the military. Think about it. Trump ain't going on military. He already proved that 5 times. He dodged the draft 5 times. But the wisdom of Babylon thought that this was a suitable candidate to lead a country. If that didn't show selfishness, I don't know what does. But like I say, I always say, for some reason, y'all saw leadership in this man. A con man, a failed real estate agent, a failed businessman, a failed husband, 34 felonies, pedo. Y'all saw leadership in this dude. Verse 5, if thou have anything, he will live with thee. Yeah, he will make thee bear, not be sorry for it. Look at how he treating his own military. He's not sorry. Even if he was to come out and apologize, it'd be fake as hell. Because Trump don't care about nobody but Trump. He'll throw his kids under the bus to save his own ass. Let's get this one. Proverbs. Go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 29. Verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. They mourning like hell on that ship. They are in hell right now. Trust me. I was there. It sucks. That's why I didn't re-enlist. Like, no, I got to take it to the house. Now, I will say this, back in the time when I was in, I don't regret going, but I never go back because I got to see the world for free. And I gained a lot of world experience and knowledge of other countries. But at the same time, I never go back. Verse 12, if a ruler hearkens to the lies, all his servants are wicked. That's your Pete Hegseth. That's your J.D. Vance. That's your Stephen Miller. That's Caroline ass Levitt. We glad she gone. She's no longer the White House press secretary because all she do is lie. Just like everybody in the administration. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 10. Verse 12. Hatred stirreth up strife, but love over all sin covereth all sins. And Trump is a very strifeful man. He loves stirring up strife. He loves putting one person against another to hide his wickedness. He's very wicked. He might seem stupid, but no, he ain't stupid. Proverbs chapter 10, verse 24. The fear of the wicked, it shall come upon him. Y'all, if y'all don't know about the story, Trump, he was playing like he got on Air Force One, but he ducked down into like a service cart because he's scared. Because this man that did so much wickedness, he don't know when the judgment coming for his wickedness. He don't know where it's coming from. So he's super spooked. Now let me tell you, let me ask you this. And all that blood money he got, uh that will manifest into a guilty conscience. That's what he's suffering from. He didn't did so much wickedness. He has a constant guilty conscience. Let's finish the verse. The fear of the wicked shall come upon him, but the desire of the righteous shall be granted. And what is our desire? A Bible ball. Destruction to Babylon, America. Fuck this place. Proverbs chapter 10, verse 18. He that hideth hatred with lying lips, and he that uttereth a slander is a fool. That's all Trump does. He goes on TV and lies on and slanders everybody. They take lying above and beyond the call of lying because Edomites lie on nations, whole groups of people, whole continents of people. They just lie on. Just like they lie on Israelites. They like to put us in the same group. But when they get caught doing some fuck shit, they don't want to be grouped together as a whole. No. But the majority of Edomites, I'm talking about spiritual Edomites. I'm not talking about so-called white people, because some of those so-called white people are Israelites. I'm talking about spiritual Edomites, the wicked. Isaiah chapter 26, verse 10, let faith be shown to the wicked. Yet will he not learn righteousness in the land of uprightness, will he deal unjustly and will not behold the majesty of the Lord. This is very unjust. You dogging out your own people, but at the same time, you expect them to fight a war for you? And it's like I said yesterday, Esau's madness and insanity is exhausting. And that's what these sailors are feeling. They are exhausted, man. You just don't know how much energy it takes to maintain your morale and to stay in good spirit in such a depressing environment as a Navy warship. It's a very depressing environment. So it's like they always say the military is not for everybody. It's not. And they finding out the hard way it's not for them. If you are willing to commit suicide to get off a ship, that is very dire mental health. They need to get them sailors off that ship and let them go home for 30 days and hope they come back. Most of them ain't coming back because they ain't going through that shit no more. They don't care if they have to go to the brig or not. They're not doing that shit no more. And now you got more problems in your military because you have the threat of mutiny is increasing. And it's just a matter of time before it actually happens. Them sailors gonna take control of that ship and they're gonna drive themselves home and put the captain in the brig. Oh, you don't want to take us home? Click, click, get on the ground. Turn this goddamn ship around. We're not fighting Iran. Watch what I tell you. It's going to happen. Because them sailors know that Trump is leading them to their deaths. And like we said, when Trump first got it, when he first got in the office the second time, we told y'all think Trump is y'all savior. No, he gonna speed up the destruction. And Trump and Jesus is finna get a lot of y'all killed. Let's get these. This is the book of Job, chapter 20. Verse, verse 27. The heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. Talking about Esau. And it's gonna start, it ain't gonna start with other nations, it's gonna start at home. Remember, they want a civil war. And they doing everything to piss people off. We told y'all when Trump first got in office, his goal is to piss you off so he can declare martial law and lock you down and gain total control. That's when all rights, all amendments are out the window. When you become under martial law, all the laws in the civilian sector goes out the window, and they are imposing military law on you. And a lot of military law includes death. This is what these people want. They want to be able to execute people and not be judged, not be punished. I ain't gonna say execute. They want to be able to murder you without consequence. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 12. Verse 8, the wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted. BB, Trump. So if those two are in the middle, they are surrounded by wicked flunkies. Let's get this one. And another thing that came out in the video I did yesterday was YouTube would not let me post because they was bringing out truths about Donald Trump. Jasmine Crockett, representative of Texas, she brought out a lot of facts. She said that before Trump started that shit with Venezuela, he didn't consult with Congress or members of NATO. You know who he talked to before he did that shit? He had a council with oil tycoons. Makes all the sense in the world. Y'all should have knew he was lying from the jump. You say you're going down there for fentanyl, but you come back with oil, stolen oil. And we told y'all what he was gonna do before he even got it down there. It's just like in the book of John, chapter 10, verse 10. Well, let's go ahead and get it. Red letter, Lord Yahweh Shai speaking. The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. Maduro should have knew what time it was as soon as they saw him. As soon as he saw those military ships pull up to his front door, he should have knew what time it was. But he let them sit out there and chill instead of busting them and get the fuck out of my yard. And then they kidnapped him and stole his oil. I am come that they may have life, that they may have it more abundant. So if Esau pull up to your front door, you know why he there? It's the same MO, to steal, to kill, and to destroy. How can the wicked execute judgment, righteous judgment? They can't. That's why we tell y'all stop expecting the wicked to be righteous. They were created to be the wicked, not righteous judges. Get this one. This is the book of Job, chapter 18, verse 18. Well, we can start at verse 15 to get a little context. And this is talking about future prophecy that was about to happen to Esau, Edom. It shall dwell in his tabernacle because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. His root shall be dried up beneath, and above shall his branch be cut off. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. He shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. He shall neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. The Lord finna cut off you Edomite males, because without an Edomite seed, you can't produce an Edomite. That's the Lord's goal. He don't want no more Edomites being produced because they have served their purpose. To punish us, that was number one. That's already done. That's in the past. Now they got two more things to do. They got to destroy their own kingdom through nuclear war, and they got to rebuild our kingdom for free over a period of 1,000 years. Those were the only three reasons Esau was ever created. When he fulfilled those three purposes, the Lord is going to get rid of his punk ass. Now let's get a few more. The book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 24. But woe unto you that are rich, ye have received your consolation. Woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep. Woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. I read that to say these bankers, these banker wars, they gonna suffer in a major way. They think they're gonna get away scot-free because they got bunkers. No, once again, you in the trick bag because the Lord provided you with bunkers for a reason. So you can survive the nuclear fallout just so you could be the first fruits of slavery. And let's get Book of Nahum. Chapter 1, verse 3. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power and will not at all acquit the wicked. You can run, but you can't hide. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. Let's go to 2 Peter. Second Peter chapter 2, verse 9. The Lord knows how to deliver the godly out of temptation and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. That's why you got them bunkers. He reserving you unto the day of judgment to be punished. Verse 12. But these as natural beasts made to be taken and destroyed, Edomites, speak evil of things they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own destruction. They gon' they gonna destroy themselves. Think about it. He's a base man. He's not superior at all. So the Lord gonna give you the tools you need to destroy yourself. Just like in the scripture, he said he has created the smith and the waster for the day of destruction. Yeah, he put it in, he put it on your spirit to create nuclear weapons to destroy yourself. But Esau think he's so smart. He think he outsmarting the Lord. He think he outsmarting Russia, China. No. You fulfilling the Lord's will of destroying yourself. See, we can get one more, we can close. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 11. So you can't, so guess what? So when you destroy yourself like the dumbass you are, you ain't got nobody to blame but you. And you're gonna have 1,000 years to reflect on the dumb shit you did to lead you into captivity. See, Esau is so stupid, he's going above and beyond to put himself into captivity. He knows the prophecies, he just don't believe it's gonna happen. So he's challenging the Lord, and the Lord gonna take him up the Lord said, bet. You think this a game. And it says that in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. Esau is basically challenging the Lord. Let's get that before we close, before we go to Psalms. Only a stupid person would challenge the Lord. But we talking about Esau, so it makes sense. Let me see. This is Esau and his carelessness and his recklessness. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. And this is how he goes through life without a care in the world, no responsibility, no accountability, just a loose tornado on the loose. This is his attitude. And this is what he thinks about life. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 5. For our time is a very shadow that passeth away, and after our end there is no returning. See, they don't even believe in reincarnation. That's why they do a lifetime of wickedness and then want to come to Jesus on their deathbed. They just don't know they're gonna be right back 3, 4 generations later to receive the punishment they did in this lifetime. Now it makes sense because all the Edomites that's about to die, they're gonna be reborn into slavery. Judgment takes place under the sun, says the scriptures. And after our end, there is no returning. See, they don't believe in reincarnation. For it is fast sealed, so that no man cometh again. Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present. Let us speedily use the creatures like in it as in our in youth. See, no accountability, no responsibility, reckless, impulsive. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass us by. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place. For this is our portion, and our lot is this. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. Let our strength be the law of justice. See, that's what you call emotions in rulership. Esau don't rule the world, his emotions do. When he write down a law, he doesn't stick to that law. He gonna change that law based on his emotions. Unfit to rule. Well, not. Yeah, verse 10. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be found nothing worse. See, they think if you weak, you ain't shit. Little do they know they the weakest humans ever created, so-called humans. But they about to find out in captivity how weak they really are. They about to find out when they go to captivity how superior they're not. The sun's showing them that right now. Look at all them Edomites died over there in so-called Europe. Verse 12. Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean, contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objective to our infamy the transgressions of our education. He that possesseth to have knowledge of Yahweh, and he calleth himself the child of the Lord. He was made to reprove our thoughts. He is grievous unto us, even to behold. They're not the Edomites talking about the Israelites. For his life is not like other men's, his ways are of another fashion. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He abstained from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh the boast that Yahweh is his father. Now, this is what Esau finna challenge the Lord. Listen to this. Let us see if his words be true. Let us prove what shall happen in the end of him. For if the just man be the son of Yahweh, he will help him and deliver him from the hands of his enemies. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience. Let us condemn him with a shameful death, for by his own saying he shall be respected. Such things did they imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness have blinded them. See, they provoking the Lord on purpose by messing with us. So he finna get what he been looking for. Now let's close with in the book of Psalms, chapter 11. Oh, we already there. That's verse 6. And this is the Lord throwing monkey wrenches in all of Esau's plans. He put the spirit on them sailors to sabotage those ships. Mm-hmm. Book of Psalms, chapter 11, verse 6. Upon the wicked he shall rain snares, monkey wrenches, fire and brimstone, and a horrible tempest. This shall be the portion of their cup. See, Esau didn't take into account that, yes, there is a God. But he finna find out when the Lord puts him into captivity for just being a fuck boy. That's a damn shame. When you put yourself in captivity for doing shit you didn't even have to do, but you wanted to do it because it is in the power of their hands. Micah chapter 2. Let's get that one. Let's close on that. Verse 3. Talk about this is what the Lord gonna do to Esau. Therefore, thus said the Lord, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for the time is evil. Now who in the trick bag? See, Esau thought he got everything on lock. He thought he had everything figured out. He didn't take into account that the Lord will rain snares on him and frustrate his purpose. That's why we ain't worried about nothing. We know the Lord got this. That's why you in straits right now. You ain't in tippy top mental. No. Esau is worried. Esau is afraid. The one thing he's afraid of is that we're telling the truth. And slowly but surely, he's finding out that we are. So hurry up and destroy yourself. Call Halayim La Lahai now Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah Hamashiach Wamalaki Yabah Hashem Harawat Wakakorash Barakathum Wada Baba Ba Wakwam Yasharala. Shalom.